Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to talk about how to start the golf swing, or how to start the backswing and get it in motion. It's a common question that I'll get is, how should I actually start my golf swing? So we're going to look at a couple different things and kind of compare that to what the pros do, and what I'll see what mistakes amateur players make that are pretty common and how we can fix them. So first thing, if we're looking at setup position, most professionals are somewhere between 50-50 in their feet, or even a little bit more percentage, so like 55% in pressure in their front foot to begin their golf swing. So the swing actually starts before the club even moves, and we can see this now through force plates and ground forces to see what's actually happening. So with the naked eye, we can't see what's going on with the pressure traces and stuff like that, but we now know that a lot of professionals will start with a little more pressure in their front foot, even though we can't really see that. So right now when I'm standing here, it looks like I'm 50-50, but I'm actually pushing into this front foot a little bit more before I even start the swing. What that does is it allows us to gain some momentum to start the swing and push away from the target to get the pressure into the trail foot early in the backswing. And that's really important, because if we can get the pressure moving early into the trail foot, it allows us to get the pressure then moving back when we start the downswing, and that creates a good kind of chain reaction, and it's really good for your timing in the golf swing so that we can get max potential speed in the golf swing. So we want to look at a little more pressure in the front foot. Doesn't mean we're leaning this way so that we can push this way in the backswing. Now a lot of people then ask, is that not a sway? And it isn't. A sway would be when the hips start to move excessively this direction in the backswing. It's completely different than pushing the pressure quickly into this foot, and most professionals are then at like 70% pressure in their trail foot by the time the club is at takeaway position. So to make that easier, we want more pressure in the front foot to push this direction. The other thing it does is it actually stops us from swaying, because if you start to push this way, your brain then thinks you're going to fall over, so then you'll brace and rotate a little bit better to counteract that. So we want to feel the push back. You'll then brace in this leg. As it starts to rotate, that will stabilize the lower body, and it'll help you get in better positions in the backswing. Looking at common mistakes that amateurs make is they will usually be either 50-50, or I'll see a lot of the time they have more pressure in their back foot, so they're maybe like 60% in their back foot. Now they've got nothing that they can push away from the target to start the swing, and what usually happens is they get really handsy, or just use their wrists, hands and arms to take it away, and that then gets us in a bad domino effect, and then we're kind of making compensations to get back into the right place. So something that we can think about from down the line would be, when we set up, we want to feel as though it's the big muscles that take it away. So as I'm pushing pressure into the trail foot, I'm using the chest and shoulders to bring the club back. I'm not really doing anything with the hands and arms. There's no manipulation. I'm simply turning the chest and shoulders to get it back to this position. Then from there, the hands and arms are going to start getting involved, but we don't want them to get involved too early in the backswing. The next thing would be, once we get that movement, we're getting that chest rotation, we want to feel as though the hips aren't twisting straight away, but once we start to feel the tension, a lot of people feel it in their lead side obliques, so the muscles kind of on the side here. As that happens, then we can start to let the hips rotate, and then that gets us on the right track throughout the backswing. So to kind of sum it up and keep it really simple, it would be, start with a little more pressure, so push a little more pressure into your front foot just before you start to take the club back, and then from there we're using the big muscles, chest and shoulders, just to rotate. Almost feel as though your hands and arms are kind of dead and they're in position, they're not going to move. We're using chest and shoulders, and then the hips can start to rotate as well, and the hands and arms will then start to move into better positions. So hopefully that makes sense. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments, and as always, thank you for watching.